listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. So, what they're telling all of you is always false. It simply depends on where the falseness is. It's never the truth. The truth is not in them. And that's a truth that's going back decades upon decades upon decades. So one of the things they'll tell you, I'm sure, and again, I'm inside, and that's where this comes from. I don't have any direct knowledge. They will tell you that they're garnering all this information about me because I speak online. So again, the idea is this: it's a manipulation, it's psychological. If I wouldn't speak online, then I would be okay. That's a lie. Also, both are lies. They are in medical databases. They are paying doctors, nurses, professionals of all sorts to save the world from the people they're killing. Again, it's the worst type of psych have taken over the world. The communists have taken over the world, but it's not somebody that's a socialist that wants to help people, but they are in those ranks also. And when I say communists, I'm speaking about the KGB, the oligarchs, and all of that money. Now, for some reason, the volume has kicked up quite a bit. I'm going to try to tone it down. That's also something they could do. Alter the volume to cause an issue with the broadcast. I'm working here, so you're going to hear kind of choppiness a bit, working on setting up my apartment. Putting together a shelving unit in my closet. Oh, he's a closeted guy. They're trying to make me a closeted guy. So the reality is this, that nothing they're doing, you have to tell yourself this simple truth. Nothing they're doing is what they say they're doing. It's the absolute truth. Because this is the bottom line, and it's not a contract. The bottom line is everything they do revolves around what they wanted to call the deep state. Now, it's Republican and Democrat. They had fun with it back and forth for a while, thinking they would confuse the issue, make it a political issue, and then kind of make Trump the evil man, and anybody that says deep state is then considered evil. The deep state is a criminal enterprise, and it spans the government and the private sector. And no, it's not the power people that are really giving us everything. They're the ones that stole everything and trickle back what little they refuse to or don't need, like refuse being like garbage, trash they don't need, to those that will be their criminal demons. I use metaphysical terms because it's not happening absent metaphysics. Again, if you're gay, if you committed a crime, if all these things, alcoholism, if you did an abortion, I'm not speaking like those people that condemn you for that. God won't condemn you for anything that's not your fault. It's the fault of the people I speak about. They change your life away from something that was normal. Now, here I want to explain it a little better to you, especially since today you've been operated to be the same as the Christians that condemn you. There are sins in the LGBTQ world. There are sins in the atheist world. and you condemn people that are sinners, right? So when you're doing that, the question is, are you moving metaphysics to cause that? And that's usually a sign. I call it the gotcha because they call it the gotcha. I like to use their language. So again, it's not about what you are as a physical person. And that's what the Bible says. The church does the opposite. The church says, what I physically see you as, and it's not even what you physically are. It's what they see you as or what they say you are. Again, that's the next step. It doesn't matter what they see because they're going to say what you are. And it's not only the church, but the church is the place where we're supposed to be protected from that. Again, you hear me speak about the FBI. Why do you always say FBI? Because the FBI won't enforce the laws around that type of thing, because many of them are involved. President Biden, he's got some very close CIA chumps. They admitted to being the deep state. What does that actually mean? That means they're going to operate outside of law because they're going to save the world from the people they say are the criminals. It's going on right now. No matter what Garland said yesterday, what I say is going on right now. Does it mean Trump's innocent? No. Does it mean the Trump Republicans are okay? No, because they're part of it. Thank you, Orange. I love fall weather, but I hate fall pollen. Not too bad, but it is there. So what I'm trying to do is take what's in the Bible and things I already knew without the Bible and help you understand, why do I know it? Because I grew up with God. I never heard God. I couldn't tell you God was there. But when you wake up, you look and you go, and I did communicate to God. I'm not going to tell you that. I didn't have God like I do now. I don't want to confuse you. God and I were very good friends, but I was like a mute deaf. God was like a mute deaf. So God and I were mute deaf people having a relationship. So a person like me is in the Dead Sea Scrolls, a person that knew nothing until they knew the three books. Now, I don't know what three books they're speaking about. I'd have to study that. But when I woke, I knew nothing. And when I woke up, and God could have done this just to mark me as his and mark me as somebody similar to the person or that person in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I don't know if they're speaking prophecy or real time or what with that. But I knew nothing until I knew the three books. The three books being the Quran, the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament being the Torah. Actually, it's more than the Old Testament. It'd be the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran. 100%. And I also have like a kidney-shaped. You can't barely see it, but a kidney-shaped birthmark on my head. And that's in there too. So again, am I different than you? No, I believe in absolute equality. But what have you all done? You've created a system where I have to be this thing above you to make sure you don't harm me and harm others. Now, of course, they'll go, well, what's he taught about? We're the ones that save others. We have all these cases. So what they're doing is they're transferring some real work to their fake work. But remember, once they do that, then it was never real work. It's always a scam then. Oh, wait a minute. Did I do this right? Now I have to figure out which way I want the things to go. Now, the one pole goes up, the other pole goes down. I think they're all supposed to go down. These are real nice. If you go to the Craftsman, all you have to do is Google Craftsman plastic shelving. It's the biggest one you're going to get, the nicest one you're going to get, or can get. And they're, what size was this one? I think this one's 40 by 24, so they're pretty darn deep. The other one that's nice is this one's black and red. There's one that's black. I wish they were both the same color because I would buy those only. But the other ones are black and yellow. I think it's what's the company called? I think it's called Challenger or something like that. But they're 48 by 20. So these are bigger than your general 36 by 18 or 36 by 24 that you can buy. And they're very sturdy. So again, the Biden administration is affected by deep state. How do I know? Because they're still operating. Again, you have, as a president, you're an individual, and you're given time to clean that deep state. If you haven't noticed, both sides of the aisle are a little more stressed than they used to be. That's why. Your time ran out. Do I care if Biden gets elected again or a Republican? No, not at all. You're all criminals, and I'll have to operate the same way I'm operating now in protecting myself and my community. And no, there isn't a psychology that says someday I'll grab a gun and shoot somebody to protect my community. That's actually your psychology. And that's one of the issues we have because it went so long. High-ranking members of the criminal enterprise, made men and made women and capos and all that, they have those rankings in reality, and they're in your police department at times. Some of your police departments are actually organized crime entities, and the cover story is that they're police officers. Now, of course, when the mafia assumes sanitation services or runs a casino, some of it is legitimate. But that doesn't make all of it legitimate, and that doesn't excuse the illegitimacy. Well, the illegitimacy, that's a shower running. I'm washing these off. I have plastic down on the floor, and they'll dry throughout the day. That's one thing with these plastic shelves, you can just wash them off. So again, your police department wants you to believe because they answer 911 calls, and if you actually speak against them, they may be a little slow to the 911 call or come and shoot you. These are truths of the police department. If you weren't it, I wouldn't say it. It's that simple. So again, they believe they get to rule you. They get to rule you. They get to affect you outside of lawful behavior. But the intelligence system tells us that this is the guy that we're supposed to do it to. None of it is legal. None of your investigative techniques are legal. But I found so many. I already know that your investigative techniques are shit. And all you do all day long is claim what somebody else did in a different technique to find the criminal. You say what that person did is actually your technique that did it. I've known that for years. I've told you that for about 15 years. So these are not the best of the best. They're the best of the best criminals because they're in law enforcement. Can you imagine the joy of being a devil and a criminal and being an untouchable cop or agent? That's what's going on. The rest is an illusion. So no matter what the Republicans said yesterday, or I think it was yesterday, or what Garland said yesterday, it's all an illusion. And no, it isn't the best case scenario based upon what's happening. Would it be better that we were here to help people? No. You're backing a criminal enterprise. It'd be better if you all were dead and in hell. Because that's your system, all of you. I tried to get you to change your system for years. You refused to change it, all of you. Even if you changed it minutely, it did not effectuate on the street. Because you won't send to prison the people that need to go to prison. Now, everybody knows Trump's most likely a pedophile. He's definitely a sex offender. But I'll tell you this, Mr. Buck is a sex offender. Mr. Buck's with the Democratic Party. So that's how you have to look at everything. If you trans people and LGBTQ people don't look at, undaunted, they put something, an inference in there. If you're not looking at the others in your party with scrutiny, then you're just as bad as the other side. and it's going to fail. Do you understand that? Do you understand anything? Because most people that are around today are very ignorant. Which is, once you metaphysically move in the wrong direction, then and they go, oh, that's your life more. No, it's not, all of you. You're directly affecting my life. We just had a discussion today in the mind. There are some agents that said, we saw them directly stop the system from paying him, and they're saying it's God in front of everybody. We saw them directly, which means they are inferring that they are God. We knew these people would exist. So again, in the Democratic Party, you have people that would take you out as an LGBTQ person if somebody paid them enough money. You could be what's her name? Erin Reed. They could take her out. They'll try to get her to block me. They got Montoya to block me. That's okay. She's just not there, and she can move about in her own life. They keep putting in my head, and they say, no, it's your head more. So I can hear all sides of their thought. They say something, I project back, a thought, and then they go, oh, no more. Blah, blah, blah. So what they think is I'm not hearing. Because again, at times, I don't hear. Because again, that struggle of good against evil, they are evil, I am good. Sometimes good doesn't hear. Sometimes God doesn't hear. That's this evil planet that we live on. So what I'm trying to foster with Zoe Zephyr and Erin Reed, and they probably told them already nasty things about me. What I'm trying to do there is to help them understand that if I don't agree everything with that they agree that they think or want to happen, if I don't agree with it, and I simply say I just don't agree with it, go live your life. I'm just going to move in my direction to help fix the system around all the transgender and the LGBTQ people. That's okay. We can still communicate. We can still take on evil. What they're trying to get you to do is to say the only evil, the only bad is the person that doesn't agree with you or agree with the party line. Again, that was the Soviet Union. And in fact, if somebody pays enough money and you agree with all of it, if I agreed with all of you 100%, they would still attack me. They just have to pay more money. But it doesn't matter because they have trillions at their disposal. Again, I spoke about the president being part of it. President is part of it because the people around him are part of it. No, they're not investigating some cold case. That's the biggest. That's the filth of it. Religion and cold case investigation is the meat of their criminal enterprise. Fabrications thereof, falsification, forcing activity, including murder. They forced murder. They forced people to murder. They go, how can we do that? We're only testing people. They're not testing anyone on you. It's a fraud. So again, within the president's circle are CIA devils. The CIA used to be called the company. You know why? I didn't know why, but now I know why. I've known for the last probably 10 years now. I mean, I knew the CIA was corrupt when everybody told me they were the ones that were doing what they were doing to me, John, and the others, along with the private investigators that they lifted up. And there are employees in the Marshal Service that actually work for CIA, the company, not CIA, the United States of America. No, not that. They're the company. They're a private corporation of a criminal enterprise that takes care of itself and makes it look like they're taking care of everyone else. But that's every one of them. Outside the CIA also. So Joe Biden, we know Joe Biden has people that believe in what they want to call it extrajudicial punishment, but I won't call it that because they've destroyed the word. Essentially, it means that it's some sort of just punishment in their system, which means a bunch of FUs. That's what they're called. That's a term they use. So I use their language at times so they can understand. A bunch of FUs, and that fuck yous is what they're called in their system. Get to rule the world, and in the absence of everything, they get to the end and go, "But that's our power." Now, who do you think built Silicon Valley, or who do you think took over Silicon Valley? They did. Elon Musk was part of it. He's still part of it because he still has some money, but he changed his side. Elon Musk changed his side. So now he's struggling to stay up. But yet I can't clear him as being not them. Again, these people are fighting one another, but they have millions of dollars each. So the effect is very minimal. I mean, even losing 10 billion when you have 50 billion, does it really matter? I mean, yes and no. This looks like it's too loud. I have no idea how it did that. I recorded earlier. Now it's up louder. I have no idea how to control that volume. The slider on Android, well, my streaming service says that I controlled it, but I have a graphic because I don't have the camera on, or it would be viewing me or viewing what my camera views. Is showing that the volume is still up a little high. It goes into the yellow. It's not quite in the red. It may actually have been in the red there. Well, if you put one thing, a caveat, if you put too much weight on these plastic shelves, they'll bow in the middle. I had all my amps on, all 4 amps on the 48-inch wide one, which is, lacquer. So I started putting supports in the middle. But the bottom line is you have to put supports all the way down to the floor, or if the bottom one will give and then the rest will give. But it can bow, but they're pretty good. I have something coming in. I think I'm going to put my amps on. What it is it's a kitchen table, like a dining room table, not a high dollar one, but it has benches. And it looks like, and I love when they use MDF and, technology to make something look like a big piece of lumber and it weighs like, a pound because it's semi hollow. Right. It doesn't weigh a pound. It weighs more than a pound. I'm sure it's a pretty thick MDF, but there is a spacing in there. And, it looks pretty good from the photos. Who knows what it looks like when it gets here? From the reviews, it looks like it could be damaged. But however, what's great about it is that I could take the benches and I can't put that little thing. I have to take that thing off where it may not even be in there. I think sometimes you have to install it. The little thing where you raise it and lower it. Take that off. Put a Velcro pad underneath each one of the feet on the bench, and then the opposing Velcro on the table, and then I have a desk with a shelf. The bench will be a shelf, and then the question is whether I can use the second shelf with any level of stability. I know I can use the first shelf 100%, no problem. Because if you look at the other computer desks, the wood's like 3/4 of an inch wide to it, something like that. It's just not really the same look. Has that kind of rustic timber look. Apparently, I don't know what kind of cleaner they were using. Again, when I have products like that, I put that what's called beeswax, or different waxes you can buy for your furniture, like real wax. You should wax it first and routinely wax it. That protects the surface. Although I was speaking to some people here, it may have been a cop that was like a craftsman type of dude. It was in the mind. And he said, Larry, if you put poly on that, you're not going to have any problem. You might just want to put a coat of poly. Now, does he know he was speaking to me? Not necessarily. We're just saying the same thing. Is it law enforcement? Yes. Is it the police department? No. Although he could be a cop. So again, if what that's called is helps. You may not hear it in your mind, but there's people helping you. I know a lot of people in the world because I'm always a help. And again, my heart drove that, but of course it's God. Always wanting to help you. They hate me. They called me Mr. Friendly in the government when they were killing me. Ah, Mr. Friendly, huh? Now you remember I'm drugged. When they knew that drugs were working and I was drugged, they all jumped in. Because it's sure money. Don't let them tell you it's for any good reason. See, I miss anything? Remember, the people around Biden admitted that they engaged in extrajudicial punishment during the Obama administration. And then during the Trump administration, they said they did it and that they do it. Well, because it's strange. Okay, remember the news article about people, and I don't know if any of you are innocent in Silicon Valley or Silicon Valley, whatever you call it. But remember the news article about all the CIA and FBI and stuff like that that were working for Silicon Valley? Can you imagine that type of criminal enterprise? Of course, they're saving all of us. But yet, Buck didn't get arrested. Trump didn't get arrested. And they've been around that long. No, because they're billionaires. Don't let them tell you that. There's others out here. These people jumping around the community trying to get me, they all have criminal enterprise histories, includes rapes, murders. That's how they move the enterprise. The more you do, the higher rank you get. Some people are just contacts in the government for when they need them. But they also, they do fraud. It's all fraud. So again, we do have people in the government right now at a high position that have admitted to criminal enterprise activity. That's a criminal enterprise. Anything that engages in extrajudicial punishment from the government is organized crime and racketeering. There's no other way to do it. Okay, so my tub is going to come either today or tomorrow. Although that same cop was talking to me about something else, another project. He's like, hey, you could buy one of those, you can get a acrylic tub. He goes, and he starts talking about sales. If you go, you can actually find one on sale. You probably pay just a few $100. Just get the one they don't want. But he said, if you purchase an acrylic tub, they have some freestanding ones. You can put a base on it, like just a wood, 4x6 or something like that. And then you run the drain hose down through the bottom of that, and then into your shower. And then you have a real tub. But I needed something fast, so I got that one. Right. It's like TPU and PET or something. The famous plastics. And then I was looking to do my Torah Arc thing. I was going to do a stained glass Torah Arc thing again. And he's like, okay, they got sales over at so-and-so every so often. So you have to go in and look, and you could get the piece even cheaper. He showed me where to buy the piece. I'm actually somewhere where I needed to be when it comes to filling the Torah Arc. There's a store here that wasn't in the other cities. A couple stores, actually. So I took one of my, this is the craziest thing. This is part of being cursed. I took one of my kitchen carts and I put it in the kitchen because now I have a kitchen big enough for an island and all that. And I have white quartz, kind of looks like marble. Or off-white quartz, I'd say. But it's very nice, like an inch and a half thick or something. I think it's even thicker than an inch and a half. But the black wasn't so bad, but the beach is not going with the beach, like natural wood. It's the cabinets are like streaked dark brown it's dark brown with a little black in it. Actually, it's more gray. It's kind of grayish brown, I guess you would call it. And for some reason, the black in the kitchen cart wouldn't pick. The stainless and black wouldn't pick up with it. It's just, but what it was is that top. So what I did is I took the leaf off because I can't really use the leaf in there, and it toned down the amount of natural wood, and it looked a little better. But what I also have, I have natural wood workbench tops that I put on top of the countertops. It's I use little rubber legs. Today I actually bought some hairpin legs to put one up about 6 inch. But I have those, so I put those around the kitchen, and now that color's in the kitchen, mixing with the other colors, and it's kind of, the conflict of interest in, in I guess peaceful coloration. There is like a feng shui of colors. Right? So again, I'm trying to bring that piece of color. And if it doesn't work, I'll eventually go and buy a stone top. They actually have a stone top that would fit on top of that. It's $200 and it's not money I want to spend, but again, there is a feng shui of color, and I'm trying to do that. Now, you would say, well, what do you mean? I've never looked at that. Well, your life isn't cursed. God can get through and have that feng shui operate in your life. Again, these people watching me every day, cursing me, and they're not doing it because anything I say, even if they tell you that in their mind, because there are circumstances where they did it for other reasons. And then they'll go, well, yeah, because you're a sex criminal. So again, they're the sex criminal. Again, don't accuse me of stuff so I don't have to tell everybody the truth about how you all project. So again, to get back to the other idea, they were trying to push thoughts about Miss Montoya into my mind, and I just kept. I said, look, I'm not. And there were some agents with me, and they said, look, he's not thinking about her. Stop doing that. They kept insisting that I was obsessing over. So again, they're doing that to people, and they cause people to obsess over somebody and maybe stalk them or look like they're going to stalk them, that kind of thing. Well, she's not strong enough to go forward with the big L. I mean, nothing against her, but that's whack, right? And I agree with. I don't think there should be any blocking button. I believe there should be a complaint button. Right? Maybe you can, like, you file a complaint, like a dispute, like I have there with my bank going after Extended Stay America. There should be like a dispute where you can block the person temporarily. Actually, I'll write this up to X, so they can do a block, but every block has to be investigated as to whether there's a validity to it. And if it doesn't meet the standard of blocking, they can go on to a different service if they want to. Now, to her credit, she may have been operated. She's been operated, so she may have saw something that wasn't there because they're there because I'm there, and because she's being operated. They're there, and they're trying to cause friction. No, I don't think. I think she misunderstood what I was saying, kind of, but I think it's because operators are there real time projecting. Well, the idea is just to believe in God. I wasn't asking them to change their lives, and I tried to put that out there. And it kind of was a shitty recording, but like when I receive something from God, and that's why I'm this guy, and you're not. This is why I'm Raziel. This is why I'm Raziel La. Because when God calls, I act, but I know God's not going to ask me to engage in an act of violence. But cursing is not violent; it is what God wants to happen because you're all doing it. Now, if you're not going to God, it is violent. Because they are the thing that is causing the issue. Is every plague on the earth me cursing you? No. They already exist because cursing is at that level. What I'm doing, and they know I'm doing that, besides me telling you that, is I'm neutralizing the playing field. They are not going to be protected from their own curses. They pick who gets to be cursed. Again, you go through history. If you study it all, history, you'll find that they did things to people. They outcasted them, made them a pariah. Hopefully you're hearing me. I stepped outside. I don't know if you heard me. But that's what they're doing. But it's evil. If they could, they would. Actually they do. This came up shortly after John's, actually psychological murder at a minimum. They sacrifice people. They are sacrificial type people. And that's one of the operations they used. It's his fault. Get rid of him and you'll be okay. Until they come back next time. It's her fault. Get rid of her and you'll be okay. But it's all criminal enterprise. But they say they're investigating, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's high priority. That person's dangerous, that kind of thing. But it's false. That's the problem. And it's not based upon the system that we all agree to. It's a hidden system. It's called extrajudicial punishment, but there's nothing judicial about it. Although there are some judges that are crooked. That came from a judge. So again, in the mind, we have the ability to communicate outside of our knowledge. Again, sometimes help, sometimes it's a thing we belong to, whatever they call it. So I'm huge because I'm an inside person everywhere. Because my heart doesn't require me to have something to help you. And they say, well, that's what's wrong. If you the bullshit. The system tried to pay me so many times, and these people refused to pay me. Now, does that mean I was going to be a millionaire? Probably so, because you all were there, and that's what it takes to stay safe. 100%. I could live on $5 a week if they weren't around me. I'd be a monk somewhere, and they'd all feed me, and I'd have 7 wives. So again, based upon them connecting me into the trans world, it failed for them. Thank you. I'm able to, again, Lot, I'm in the trans world, I'm Lot. Okay, but remember, Lot only stayed for like a few hours. And again, this is the reality. Most of the trans people that I communicate with are Asian. But I do communicate with some other ones, Latino or Latina and, American and European and stuff like that. But, you'll find some rotten ones, but you'll find some very nice people. Again, that they're considered righteous. And the reason why I'm mostly in with the Asian people, because they're connected to God more than other trans people. So that network is easier for God to get me in there. So we discuss things in the mind, and I get to analyze the reality of their world and the reality of who they are without having to, intermix all that much, because it's probably almost impossible. Because if I were to get near them, they would probably kill me. Or again, if I went to the Philippines, I'd be killed. That's why I'm not there. And I tell them all. They go, well, every trans person wants a good American man to come to their country, even if it's not for them. They care about the other trans women and all that. And, hey, why don't you date a trans woman? Why don't you come here? Well, even if I were looking in that direction, I can't, because it's unsafe for me. My country is made unsafe. And they say stuff like, well, do you live in Russia? No, I live in the United States. It's all bullshit. It's not safe here. That's it's funny, because a lot of people, especially trans women, when you communicate in the mind with them, you say it's unsafe where you live, they believe you live in a third world country, or you live in Russia or something like that, because that's their perspective is how dangerous it is in those places. Because it's spycraft. It's the highest level. The United States is doing things that other countries are doing, but at least the other countries are saying why they're doing it, and they're doing it. Again, I don't know if they say. I guess they don't even admit the spycraft evil either. But it's very evil. It's the highest level of evil, and all spycraft involves witchcraft. So this is how they killed Jesus, with spycraft. If you study the Bible, you'll see forms of spycraft being operated against certain people, including Jesus. Oh, there's devious people everywhere. So it isn't like, I'm saying they're all perfect, but, and it isn't the adversity that did it. It's their heart that had them changed into trans people, because it's a difficult life. So they were already these nice people, and then they were caused to be trans, because that's their punishment for being nice. Like, if you go into government, it's so whack what they think nice is. It's all mechanical, So they can attack people and force them away from places that help you have a settled life. Again, they're confusing a settled life based upon being a respecter of persons versus the reality. Thanks, Larry. So yeah, I was stalked the other day by criminals, and the message is that they want to kill me. Oh, I should have did this the other way. That's nice. That doesn't work. On these plastic ones, you have to put the thing facing down, or you can't put your caps on at the top. I'm going to have to pull those away for now and put them in a plastic bag until that dries, and then I'll rebuild it another day. But the reason I use this is I have a miter saw, a battery powered one, and there's nothing big enough to store that but for that. I was actually able to get my portable washing machine, which is actually, it sounds smaller than it is. I mean, it's not, yeah, the best washer is, there's like three makers that make it. I forget the company that actually makes it, but RCA markets it, Magic Chef will market it, a couple other companies, and it'll only be available every so often. It's 3 cubic feet. It doesn't have the agitator, but it's the biggest 3 cubic feet you're ever going to see. And what's good about it is when you need to wash a comforter, big fluffy comforter, you just throw it right in. Now again, they have those side loads, but I mean, the original one I bought during the COVID thing was three. I think I paid $300 for it, and then I had to get money back because something was broken. They gave it back, and I bought the extended. It was covered the extended warranty price, and that's what I wanted, right, to be able to cover the extended warranty. And I have extended warranty on this one, but it hasn't broken. But the washing machine that's in here, I could probably get a small blanket, like a thin blanket in there, but I don't think I'm going to get a comfortable wash in there. So it'll be nice to hook that up and wash a comforter real quick, right? And it fit right in the corner. It's kind of a weird shape in the laundry room. It has like a diagonal wall, but it was enough to fit this in there and still be able to open the dryer and everything. So that was real nice to have that benefit of the apartment work out. So I bought a bed. The first time I've had a headboard real bed in a while. It's PU leather, which is fabulous looking, and it's diamond tufted, and it has brass rivets in it. It looks great. I mean, I paid what, like $150 for it or something. And everybody complained about how flimsy it is. You have to. Broken a certain point, but it's not unrepairable. In fact, I could probably buy a piece of fall marble or something to put on top to make it even look better. Actually, no, because I'm going to put that other top on there. Yeah, but it's not impossible. Like I said, I'll just glue that top on and it'll work. No, I knew some things going on around Montoya, that she was either a bait person or and it makes sense. She had the in with the White House. She wants it back, right? Or they were manipulating her into being a bait person. Because they can, again, the third party murder that I explained about, they can do that with manipulating people everywhere. So a third party murder is where they agitate one person or one group of people against another, and they get them to fight or murder one another. And they do that in every community I live in. So again, when you say I shouldn't have left, I had a discussion with God this morning, and the reality is that I left at the right time because they were being worked so much against me. At any given point, one of them could have broken into murdering me. And the cops were in on it, so nobody was going to investigate it all that much. But why do we do that? See, then they do that because you're all criminals and devils. And reverse. So they do have that reversal ability, and you have to watch that. You have to look for it. I don't know if you can see it. I can see it. What they're doing is kind of I'm rubber, you're glue. What you say bounces off me and sticks to you. They do that. So again, the system's broken when that effectuates, because it's very unintelligent for that to happen. Obviously, if you're doing something, I'm not doing it. Or should I say, if you're doing it, then it sticks to you. Right? There's no need to say I'm rubber, you're glue if you weren't actually doing it. Everything they're doing is actually physically operated into the world around that person, but there's metaphysics involved. So again, it's not a victimless crime there as far as, or a physicalless crime, or non-physical crime. So I'm going to have to clear them out. They're getting in the middle of the mind. Because again, to say what I'm saying, you have to find it to say it. You have to think it to say it. So you can't even think it because they blinded your minds lest you see anything. Let be the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ. This is an important point I just missed. God's going to punish them for taking the thought until it returns. Oh my gosh. So I got this in here. That was what I wanted to get done this morning. And now I can take my, oh wait, is it tall enough? I have to see if it fits in there tall wise. I guess it should. It's just actually I could put it on top. That's what I'll have to do. Now the handle, there's a handle on it, and it's too tall. So is this one narrower like that than that one? Looks like it. I don't want to leave it there, that's for sure. Now I could put it on the top rung, but I don't know if I want to do that. I'm going to get my tape measure because it looks like there's less space up and down. So this is 14 3/4, or it looks like 14 3/4, and this one is 15 1/2. I actually have extra poles, and what you do, here's how you fix that. You can order extra poles from a very nice woman that works for that corporation. I forgot her name. She's amazing. I mean, I've never had anything so easy in my life. Right. So you order these poles, these extra poles, and then you can cut them short to the amount you want to raise it. So in essence, I could raise one of these sections 4 inches by cutting getting a miter saw and cutting a 4-inch section off. But you can only actually you can use it anywhere. Actually. You can cut it all down because you don't need that extra nub for that little spacer, right? Well, actually, you do. I take that back. You do need that nub, right? You can actually make 2 spacers out of 1. Oh no, it'll work. It's safer if you use the nub, but it'll work, I think. No, how you can't connect 2 poles, right? Oh, you can't. You need a nub, right? But on the one side you don't, but on the other side you would, right? So you could actually make spacers for the top of it on any of them, right? But if you're going to use it for, so I guess you could make it for them because you don't need the nub to go into the shelf itself. You need the nub to lay over the other pole. Right. Again, be careful how much you do that because these are square poles, so you're not going to get a piece of PVC. I even have one where I can't find the right size PVC to extend. I used to cut like the standard HDX Home Depot 36 by 18. I guess they have one that's 36 by 24, I think. Has a size PVC pole you can use in place. You get them white, you get them black, get them yellow, whatever color you want. And you can actually use the cheapy PVC. I bought furniture grade PVC because I was using it for my Torah Ark. But you could buy just a standard PVC pipe, cheapo, and it works. I did use that also because there's a bottom part on it that I put a lion skirt on it, that lion tapestry, which was like a skirt on it, and you couldn't see the poles. So I used that to readjust the sizing so the Torah Ark would be at the right level. But I'm getting out of the plastic Torah Ark business. I got to build. I actually began building, and they cursed it pretty bad. And then they cursed it when I moved it because they watched the camera and laugh about it. And they listen. It's got audio. I speak to them all day about how screwed up they are while I'm moving. Curse them and their families as they deserve. You're not going to curse me and physically destroy my life and tell me I have to be Jesus and turn the other cheek. Because Jesus didn't turn the cheek every time. 100%. He destroyed the temple, didn't he? Turned it upside down, yelled at everybody. In today's day and age, he would went to prison. 100%. So, it is what it is. In fact, Jesus and the disciples cursed people. Luke 10 is a curse. When Jesus speaks about what would happen if you treat me and the other healers and what are the other things, the other gifts? The seers, the evangelists, etc. If you treat us poorly, there was a curse connected to it, and Jesus is the one that cursed it. Although you've probably heard me curse it too, independently of Jesus. It took me years to figure out that we were doing the same thing. Well, because like I told you, once you ended my life at a certain point, again, God said, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this. And then at a certain point, again, I was unaware for 40 years. But once I woke up, God said, now go do this. And I go, okay, we're at the end of your earthly lives. Now we're going to move into divine lives. So again, once you moved past a certain point, then all bets were off. Christianity no longer was considered something well. Islam was no longer considered something well. Judaism was no longer considered something well. Sikhism was no longer considered something well. Buddhism was not, because every religion just about, it's some very, remote religions that may not have directly did something, they took money. But God says they all take money to do the deep state thing. So at that point, the Jesus plan failed. Again, if you go to the Bible, it speaks about the day that Jesus' plan fails on earth. And it has to be brought on. Again, when I woke up, and again, here we get to the again all the time here, because I've said it a million times. Not a million, but probably 150. They're blocking the mind. And I walked outside, so let me walk back inside. Could be direct energy. The second time that happened. Again, there's organic things. Again, I'm dehydrated probably, so let me drink some water. I think in the morning you get dehydrated real easy, because that's when most people use the bathroom and get rid of all that water and minerals, and because you're drinking coffee. Now, what's interesting is I can sit here now without the AC and I'm doing okay. So again, it was something else. What they try to do is make me believe that it's all allergies, it's all this, it's all that. So if they're drugging you, they're going to put all these ailments in your head. But they're trying to make you a hypochondriac anyway. And they're trying to focus you away from what's actually wrong in your body. Now, I remember the one thing I forgot to say. I don't know if this wasn't the last one, but Satan. What they're doing is they're empowering Satan, because everything that I'm explaining to you about what they do is what Satan does metaphysically, and you'll never see it unless they do that. So what they do is the license plates and all that crap is what they did to Martin Luther, what Satan did to Martin Luther. So again, they are satanic, even if they're the Pope. But I don't think the Pope would do it. Or at least not now. May have done it before in his life. I don't know. What God will do sometimes is he'll put someone in position like Paul, and then wake Paul up in that position. So they think they got their deep stater in. No, I was never a deep stater. I took care of people I worked with, and I didn't know that would anger people. They're trying to kill somebody, I take care of. Once upon a time, I imagine that was somewhere in the Mars service a laudable activity. But a lot of stuff was done to me over the years, and I never knew that people were calling and doing that crazy stuff. And that had nothing to do with me. They just developed an enemy and they'd make their phone calls. I was actually I was targeted while I was still a civilian. It goes back to the Army days. I was psychotic, man. They could have hated my father. It could have been started from that. Right. My stepfather was a Russian freedom guy. I mean, a Romanian freedom guy. And so were his friends in Romania. But they were, they were the, what do they call that? They were like newspaper reporter, that kind of stuff. Right. So they were in hiding, really. His friend, the newspaper reporter, got killed. He was one of the ones that got killed during the uprising. Like, I forget what it was, something crazy, like 15 minutes before everything ceased or something. He was shot. I think it was a straight bullet. I don't think they aimed at him. So the the secret is when you make people poor, they take money, and that's how Romania fell. Well, actually, it liberated. It didn't fall. That's how Ceausescu's people fell. Like this guy doesn't know. He heard me speaking. He just did my hat. He just did my hats off to you thing. I don't know if people know they do it. They don't let me be with people because I can teach them everything. Sometimes somebody will take their hat off, and their spirit's saying hats off to you. Like your spirits speak to people. Like, oh, yeah, Larry's spirit speaks to us. He says he wants to have sex with boys. No, I investigate that, and I investigated all of you. And I'm actually a mentor type person. What they do is they get around people. So again, this is how the clergy fell again. They get around people and they begin operating them. Some people just can't block it, but they'll physically operate the person to create upheaval in their life, and that begins to wear down the wherewithal to fight pedophilia, sex crime, bank robbery, narcotics distribution, sex trafficking, as far as personal behavior. So again, when you listen to what I'm saying and put it with the Bible, then you begin to understand what Jesus and Paul and all them were saying. Again, sometimes they say, well, we just don't know. But one day we will. But to guard against saying, okay, this person's better than that person, we're going to have a certain attitude. But the church is completely different. I mean, I was in the church and they were, it was very uncomfortable for me to be in a church because I was a deputy U.S. Marshal criminal investigator, right? I had been in the Army. So they were like worshiping me. Back then I didn't call it worship, but that's why I was offended. They were worshiping the position. They were respecter of persons. It was disgusting. So again, what they're doing is closing down, not allowing others to enter, because that's where you find theoretically Christ, where you find healing. Now, what they would say is, well, we let many of these people in and they stayed gay. They stayed using drugs. They stayed drinking. They say, well, go ahead and separate yourselves. Have fun. If you read the Bible, you can't separate yourself based upon somebody's physical activity. But you don't want to read it. You want to think into it with Satan. Right. You're not to look at the physical, but see, this is the information. I came to the planet. God said, you're it. I'm delivering it. If you block it, we go, well, I'm not blocking it. I wish you were like the Pope. You're part of a system that blocks it, then you're blocking it. That's how it works. It's a scam. Satan scams are very readable. Oh, I'm not doing it, but you're part of that system, right? No, I'm not saying you're part of the Earth, or this isn't the Earth, away from this planet's flora and fauna of people. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. You are part of a system that discriminates against people based upon being a respecter of persons. Now, I'm not telling you to make yourself unsafe, but don't bullshit about it. Don't cause it and then say, now you say, well, I didn't cause it. That person came here and was already dangerous. That woman was already dangerous, but you've caused it in others. So you're part of what I call Satan's Synod, SS, secret society. Actually, God called it that, put it in my head about 22 years ago. Maybe even further back. No, I guess it's about 22. No, actually, it was about 21 years ago. About 21 years. Who was that? There's a spirit in here. It was like, oh, Mormon. It was, what's his name? I have to study his name again. No, I study so much, I don't really hold, I purposely don't retain a lot of information. I purposely retain certain information and don't retain other information. Now, if you all went away, I would retain different information. It's called going away, Aldi. They don't go away spiritually either. They know how it works. They get in your life. No, it's not only psychology. It's metaphysics. They're devils. That's what the whole game is. Well, it's not a game. And you'll learn that in hell if it doesn't happen before. Thank you, Larry. No, he seems agitated. Oh, okay. You're killing him, his family, his money, his life, his health, and he's agitated, right? Well, actually, I was thinking of this is the key. I was telling you about that one brand. I think it's called Challenger. I was thinking of moving that in over here if I could. I don't know if it's going to fit. Probably won't, because I would actually have to put the other one in there. Oh, the key is the Challenger one's a little wide. It's 2 inches wider, so it could fit. And I could just put that on top if I wanted. What was my quandary with that? Again, God's into this. Why? Because it works my brain. I could put Twitter on the bottom, and it would just stick out a few inches. I'm trying to think if I changed it that way. I'm trying to make it as unobtrusive as I can. Oh, I see. I could put it back there. Now, what was that? Was that my brain or was God? It's funny. It's a Krishna shirt. My Krishna shirt's hanging here. Doesn't fit me anymore. I get mad when I get healthy. Now this is going to be tricky, but I'll get it to work. Oh, no, I'll get it to work. I'm not going to do that. I need to move this over. Okay, we're touching it. Whoa! Well, see, if you didn't tell me about the shelf, well, it's better you curse the shelf than what you would have cursed if I didn't tell you about the shelf. Am I correct? So they're increasing anti-power now. Oh, because of what I said? Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And you know what that means in your system. Thank you. Greg, keep speaking bullshit around me. Because I'll be the judge of it. Whoa! So you see how that works, right? By me speaking and by the largeness of my metaphysical presence, they use so much anti-power up, it causes them to stumble and fall away from taking over the world. They've already stumbled and fallen away from God. So again, what's a Torah arc? It's a focus for them to curse something. They curse that instead of you. Now they're going to try to curse me directly. So that makes sense. It seems like it's leaning forward. I guess I can put the legs up. Right. Now let's let it dry. No, the saw works where it is. I just want it to sit better than it does. So. What I'm doing is actually stopping them from taking over the world. Because they have to use their, or they don't have to, but they choose to use their anti-power against my shelving. Which, I mean, it's a shelving of Razi Allah. I told you, the people that are your operators sold you all out. All they do is let me be. Nothing would have happened to any of you. Again, it's the same thing as like Daniel. Thank you, Larry. Thanks. I got my stair climber here. My poor man stair climber. I'll put this up here. Kind of folding step stool here. Or step ladder. That fits nice. Got to put some stuff on the bottom there. What would work? Now my printer has to stay there. Do I have an outlet in the closet? No. I have to pull one in from over there. I'm going to keep my printer in the closet. Works better that way. What can I put down that way? I guess I could just transfer the safe over to here. Actually, the safe is going to go over here. Actually, that safe has to go out there, actually. I'm setting up my offline. Actually, I have two security systems that are offline. I have the offline one and then a secret one. But it's not designed to be an offline system necessarily. Yeah, it's psychological operation, but you know. When in Rome, they freak out about my cameras. Every so often. I mean, again, they're in well-adjusted lives. No, they're not in well-adjusted lives. They're in well-life. They have tons of money. They're protected from even being, going to jail for crimes. And that makes it easier for them to just push stuff aside. And it's not only psychologically based. There's a metaphysic on the planet. So what they're doing is they're attacking you metaphysically by taking things physically. Because the planet doesn't protect you as well. Because people with money said bullshit. And the bullshit is ruling. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God and all that you do.